So moving on to the last session of the BA convention. With shifting industry boundaries, it is becoming harder to keep up by innovating alone. Businesses are increasingly looking for suppliers, vendors, partner organizations, and university labs for creating new ideas and insights. To talk more about convergence through co-innovation, we have with us Ms. Shefali Sonpar, Global Head Insurance Practice, UST Global. She has over 19 plus years of experience, predominantly in the insurance sector. Please welcome her on the stage.
Born in 1976, reinvented itself in 2001, came up with its flagship product in 2007, and today it is the innovation leader in hardware, software, and products. Its scope of services spans across industries: telecommunication, entertainment, music, hardware, like I already said, and very recently, it has entered into payment and credit card business. Any guesses which company I'm talking about? Apple. Apple's vision statement says it brings user experience to its customers through hardware, software, and services. The focus and the primary goal is user experience. Let me give you one more example. Born in 1994, backed by the rising internet industry, the founder of this company came up with a few lines of code for e-commerce. It went into business in 1995 as a retail bookstore or e-bookstore. Guesses? Amazon. 1997, they've increased their portfolio of products from just books to other home goods, television, among other products. And today, as far as product portfolio is concerned, it has everything that you can ask for. Around 2011, they came up with another unique value proposition to its customers, and that was Prime service, which basically meant two-day shipping. They tightened their supply chain. They went into packaging. They made sure that they've delivered on their promise of selling any product that the customer wants. Today, they are in the space much beyond ahead of just e-commerce. They're into entertainment, music, cloud services, or data services, as we like to call it, data center services. They are also getting into banking and financial services, insurance. Just some of the cross-industry movements a small software company has gone out and did. Their vision: to be the Earth's most customer-centric company, to build a place where people can come and find and discover anything they want to buy online. Not sure if many of you know that the total revenue and profitability of the Amazon cloud services surpasses that of the Amazon e-commerce business by 500 times. It actually subsidizes e-commerce business. And again, not many people may know that on every sale of Amazon, especially on Prime, which is the 2-day promise that they do, they actually make a loss globally. The idea of selling anything a customer wants is what their strategic DNA was. And Amazon, as it built its scale, needed to build a huge data warehouse to enable this e-commerce business. They had customer data, product data, retail data, supply chain data. All of it needed to sit somewhere. And Amazon went ahead and invested massive amount of effort and investments in data warehouse capacity or data center capacities. They did the data center building so well that they went out and started selling that to other businesses. And that's how the Amazon Cloud Services, which we talk so much about, really started. This is what is the core of how co-innovation and transcending borders, which traditionally were bound by industries, happens. And the magic of this and the foundation of this is your software or your technology asset. One more pop announcement for all of you. Google is going to enter your industry. What's the first reaction that you're going to do? Don't tell me. Feel it. How would you feel if I tell you Facebook, Google, Amazon, or any of these large technology conglomerates are entering into your industry? They're getting into the oil and gas industry. They're getting into the insurance industry. They're getting into the software outsourcing industry, God forbid. How would you, as a leader, feel about that? Would you be able to beat these platform companies and still be in business 5 to 6 years from today? Feel this response yourself. Don't tell me. Because your response is actually going to tell me how mature are you in your digital adoption and how ready are you to fight and stay competitive in this new age economy. Is your company, are you still living in a digital kindergarten? I'm here to tell you that you can actually be competitive even if one of these big fours gets into your industry. And the reason you will be able to do that is that two very key things that only you as an individual, only you as a business owner, only you as your industry expert have. And that is data and domain expertise. The know-how of how your business runs, the know-how of what your customer wants is proprietary to you. And if you can harness the power of data and that of domain expertise, you can be competitive and actually a front runner as far as digital evolution is concerned. We've all heard over the last 2 days about the evolution of the IT industry, from the mainframe generation to the information age, where software programmers were the kings. IT departments worked differently from business departments. Then there was a phase not very far away where the IT departments worked for the business departments. Today, business runs on technology. And that is where convergence comes into play. When Disney thought about reinventing and improving its customer experience, going back to its philosophy and vision, which said, Disney is in the business of making people happy. That's their vision statement, officially, right? When Disney amusement parks decided to improve the customer experience, they had various ways to make that happen. They chalked out about $1 billion of budget for this over the course of almost 4 to 5 years. They could have spent that money making some of their rides state of art, improving the infrastructure of the amusement parks, but instead they invested that money in creating a software or a technology which they call the magic wand. It's a little bit, it's a wristband which is given to everybody who enters Disney Park. And it allows you to, using RFID, it allows you to know which of the rides have less pressure right now or has less of a waiting, so that as a customer who's entering wants to enjoy the park can go to the rides that I want to with the least queue. It allows me to understand, anybody who's been to Disney parks would know, amusement parks would know, it's so massive that very often you miss a lot of rides, a lot of entertainment, a lot of food that's available. It allows you to have a quick view of what you can eat, where you would like to go, and helps you plan your day so that you can effectively cover all the rides you want. If you're staying at Disney with them, you can actually book these rides up to 3 months in advance. And cut the cycle. You get a fast pass, as they call it, which means you don't have to wait in queue, and go right in front with that pre-booking. What this wristband has allowed Disney to do is transform the experience of going to the amusement park. One of the biggest frustration point Disney used to face was the long wait times, the uncomfortable transition from one ride to the other, the ticketing process, and very often when people were coming out of the Disney parks, at least the parents, were very often frustrated. This has helped change that experience. As a side note, this wristband is giving Disney tremendous amount of customer data. Now I know, because I can do the booking in advance, the customers are doing the booking in advance, which rides, which demographic of customers like to go to more. I can improve my overall efficiency. Which food counters have a higher footfall? I can improve my supply chain. Depending on the entertainment that the customers are going to, the data then gets fed into the Disney entertainments, helps me build and curate content. Disney has recently announced that they're going full-fledged into the entertainment content business. So those of you who have children who watch Disney movies, you may not be able to get them on your Fire Stick or Netflix, I believe from next year. Disney is coming up with their own entertainment website and will be curating their own content. And this is possible only because of the data that they started collecting. Your customer data, your business data, your core know-how of how your business runs and who you run it for. This combined with your knowledge of your industry and what you want to do is going to keep you competitive. Let's look at Netflix. Netflix, when it launched, it actually started giving content free in US, for those of you who have had that experience. Not in India, I'm talking US, right? And what they really did was, the promise they gave their customers was superior, stable service, right? What they started doing is, based on the content that you watched, I was able to understand your behavior and your interests. Based on that, I was able to suggest other content, and the cycle continued. So I would collect your data. You watched something, I analyzed it. Based on that, I suggested something. You watched it, analyzed it, and the cycle kept going. And as more and more customers jumped on, the cycle got faster and faster and faster and faster, to the point that Netflix now has enough content about many of us that it started creating its own content. So from borrowing content, now it's making its own content. And everybody is trying to get onto Netflix because they know, content creators know, that if you're on Netflix, chances are you'll have better eyeballs than any other platform. But do you know what is Netflix's vision, statement, or core ethos? Reliability and service. They don't talk about entertainment. There's a case study which talks about Netflix when it was creating this infrastructure. They actually actively created what they called chaos monkeys. Actually, that's what the term they used, the chaos monkeys. And they released chaos monkeys in their data centers. And what these chaos monkeys really did was artificially or through technology, kept breaking their system down. It's literally, imagine yourself sitting in a data center, or many of us have, coming from the IT industry, have been in data centers, right? There are a lot of these servers, hardware, software, everything. And somebody just, a little kid goes there and starts pulling out wires. How does that feel? Painful? And for those of you who have managed data centers, when does these downtimes happen? Two times, either Sunday nights, or when the volume of business is extremely high, right? And for an entertainment industry, when is that? Friday night, 8 p.m., Sunday, Saturday. When the volume, all the customers are getting onto Netflix to watch it. That's when the server will break down. And what will the IT guy say? Volumes, madam, right? Netflix actually promised resilience and stable customer service. And for that, what they did is they released what they called chaos monkeys. And these chaos monkeys would artificially switch off random servers during non-peak hours. And thereby, the engineers reprogrammed their data centers and software and servers to a point that they increased the resilience tremendously. Today, you can get into Netflix at any point of time, and you know they will stream. Many other streaming services are not able to deliver on this promise. And the reason that is possible is because, and this is something I'd like to kind of share with all of you, because there are just 5 things that as an organization we need to do to make sure that we can be as competitive, as differentiated as a Disney or a Netflix or an Amazon. And what we really need to start with is what's on the extreme right, your strategic vision. What does your vision statement say? What is it at the core that you want to do, your organization? What if your organization didn't exist? What is that one thing that will be missed? Once you have defined that, we can go into the why you exist. So for example, Amazon, they are e-commerce, they are the people who sell things online. And then finally, the how. In my opinion, how is the easiest part. Because once you know what, the how becomes very easy. The how becomes very easy is because, coming to the extreme left, your domain or your technology assets. Today, software is not a unique skill or an asset which only you have. We all are very lucidly talking about AI, machine learning, IoT. These technology assets are readily available to most of us. The difference really comes in how do we leverage them to create the business value we want. And that brings me to the second layer. When I say that we have these technology assets readily available, what I really mean is these technology assets are available in the ecosystem that we are working in. It may not be something that I as an individual, you as a company, or your company has. Innovation is happening everywhere. An organization, to achieve its goals of its strategic visions, needs to look beyond and ahead sometimes of its organization and create a partner ecosystem that can give you the levers to reach that objective. There are startups, there are individuals, there are companies, and there's freeware available everywhere. You need to be able to plug into that ecosystem and build your own core so that you can build that proprietary software basis the domain knowledge or the know-how of how your business works. And that's something no technology company like a Google or an Amazon knows. Only you know it. But for all this to really happen, what you really, really, really need is a culture. The culture of innovation. The culture of allowing your people, allowing your organization to reach out to this ecosystem, to accept and adopt these technologies, to be able to try an innovation and be able to fail to some extent. That is the core of your competitive advantage. At UST Global, our strategic vision is transforming lives. That is our strategic vision. That is the core for which we do anything. The how we do it is through delivering through technology and innovation. We may or may not have all the technology capabilities that we need to deliver for a specific customer problem. And for that, we are very, very aggressive in building a partner ecosystem. We have a very structured and aggressive methodology of taking in startups, allowing them the scale and the depth of domain knowledge that UST has, and using the proprietary knowledge that the startup has, that may be their technology, their value add, whatever that USP that startup brings. We have a huge, huge ability to look at a startup, look at a partner, and say, come on board, let's see what we can do. Let's see how we can co-innovate. Let me show you this by some example. I think you have seen slides like this multiple times. This is our formal structure of innovation. I prefer not to bore you, but let's take an example. When business and technology collaborate to create a cross-domain convergence. We all know about visual analytics. Has anybody not heard of visual analytics? We all at some point have heard about visual analytics in our companies. How we can use visual analytics in our companies? Oh, we have this technology which is a visual analytics. The difference really comes is when you apply this technology to a business. I'm going to try and explain with 3 examples. The first example is that of a retail, a huge retail manufacturer, a global chain. They have a camera. That camera focuses on a defined scope and collects videos of an interaction. The interaction is fairly simple. There's a checkout teller and the customer. We all know this. We've all done this, big bazaar, right? A cart comes, the customer comes to the cart, picks up things, and this is being videographed here, huh? Video, put it up. The teller punches things in. Maybe the barcode works, doesn't work. The customer asks the client, oh, Taj Mahal tea, not there, 1 kg packet. Why 2 kg packet, half 500 gram packet? I want 1 kg packet. In the cart, everything was full. So as a customer, they had also kept something at the bottom. There are 2 layers in a cart, right? The conversation is happening. This whole conversation is being recorded as a part of the video. This video data is taken back, and using the knowledge of how retail works, that's your domain knowledge, your experience, your customer experience focus, and the megabytes of data that we have just acquired. What are the different areas or ways that we can create an impact with just one technology? First example, customer interaction. Did the teller say good evening, good afternoon? Did they smile? How was the customer dealt with? Was it dealt with properly or not? Training improvement. How was the customer's reaction when they were standing in the queue and by the time they came up to the teller? Were they irritated? Did some of them just leave the cart and walk away because the wait time was too much? Were they happy? Right? That's another example of data that got collected. When the things were being put up, by any chance did the customer leave anything in the cart? Very often some of us leave 1 or 2 things just because you have to bend down and pick it up. There's just so much chaos, big bazaar, oh my God, right? Saturday, you just left, oh God, that salt I wanted. I left it down, or it slipped out or fell down. The video captured that. Potential revenue lost. Or when I spoke to the teller and said, I want Taj Mahal 1 kg back, yeah, 1 month's back. Why 2? I have to now pay 550 rupees extra, no, because of this. Don't worry, madam. We have an e-commerce site. I have your address. It'll reach you tomorrow morning. One camera, multiple interventions. Now imagine this collaborates with other, video analytics is the simplest of the technologies you can talk about. Add NLP to it, add machine learning to it, add IoT to it. add the knowledge that of every month I buy Taj. You know, I buy Taj tea every month. Customer knowledge. How can all these technologies come together to change the way retail as an industry can change? Let's take another example. A tire manufacturer, right? Again, a defined scope. The camera is looking at that. It's in the manufacturing factory floor. The tire comes out, and there is a worker who needs to check it. A small tweak has done, a little rubber wire has to be put around it, which is manual at this point, and he has to load it into another truck or a gear that takes the tire away. That's the only point of manual intervention for the scope of this discussion. A video is being taken of that transaction. All day, the video gets taken. The dump of the video is taken and analyzed. What are the various things or intelligence you can take out of that one stream of video? You can find out whether, when the tire comes, is the person able to pick it up, and is the receiver, as we call it, ready and available, because it's a manual process. The receiver needs to be there. If the receiver is not there, the associate needs to go to another place and put another receiver and then come back to the original place and pick it up. And so there's a lot of loss in operational efficiencies. Number two, is the supply coming fast enough? The tires coming fast enough? And is the person just slacking, waiting for the tire to come because at a back end some delay has happened? Again, operational efficiency. Is the person really tired? Is he doing better? Can we improve our shift timings to improve efficiencies? But that's just at the point of moment. Once you have enough data, you can actually go back into improving your supply chain. Can the tires move faster, slower? The rubber needed to make these tires, how much supply is happening, and is that corroborating with the output? You're managing your supply chain. Again, these are just small examples of one video taken of 1 square foot of area and the impact it has on this one tire manufacturer. Can this information now be taken up, converge with information from IoT, big data, machine learning, use the n number of technologies available to create even more powerful insight? And that insight, when used by SMEs in the automobile industry, in the tire manufacturing industry, can transform the way this particular manufacturing unit positions itself. It's no more possibly just a manufacturing company. Let's take a third example, biotech. Video analytics in biotech. We did another case study with another huge pharmacy company where using the, many of you know that when a blood is drawn from you, that blood is treated and then a smear is put on the slide, right? Most labs do that. They smear it on the slide. And when somebody looks into it and then some information is done. Right? This particular use case I'm talking about is for tuberculosis. The know-how that the technical agent or the expert who looks at the slide knows what is a normal blood sample look like and what is an aberration that could indicate that this blood or this person whose blood was drawn from has tuberculosis. Using repetitive understanding, now we have the technology and the capability, same video analytics. We now look at the blood smear and within a fraction of seconds can predict to a very, very, very high accuracy whether this is potentially a tuberculosis patient. Once we have a positive, it is actually taken to a real technician to validate that. Imagine the impact of this on the complete medical and the lab industry, where when a blood is collected, it is taken, there is a time lag process, you need an expert to look at it. The application of the simple capability could be all the way from platelet counts, which is critical in cases of cancer, from finding out whether you have dengue or not, and any other disease which requires a smear of blood. If we can codify your domain knowledge, your know-how, if we can codify that one thing that the human is doing repetitively, we can use technology as an enabler to give you that competitive advantage. What is extremely important is, one, you need to know your domain knowledge, you need to know your business, and you need to be able and open to codify it. Place your company's brand here and imagine if you could use these technologies and how you can create an impact in your industry. Using your partner ecosystem, using technology and as asset, and the foundation of what you really want to do. Why are you here? In our case, we are transforming lives. If the gap between detection and medication is extremely high in tuberculosis, as you know, in rural areas, death is certain. Imagine the impact you have made by giving a correct report that the person may have tuberculosis. All you need to do is do a smear, take a video, and the video can be analyzed in Bangalore, Bombay, Delhi. You don't need the technician sitting in that rural place, but the diagnosis can happen. We have transformed people, we have transformed life, we have transformed the experience in that industry. Using these 5 pillars, you can apply this into your industry and look at how you can make a difference. Create co-innovation opportunities, bring convergence across industries to bring that competitive advantage to you. At this point, I'd actually like to make a citation to Ashish and the white paper that they have, that the IIBA Thought Leadership Series has done. They came up with a similar concept of convergence and business convergence in the digital space. And we echo that and we live that. We started the journey almost 6 years ago, and today we are seeing phenomenal results with a lot of our clients. And we actually can align a lot with the IIBA in their philosophy of how the culture of co-innovation, supported by your ethos and your vision, when you are able to look beyond it, can create a competitive advantage. I leave you with 3 guiding principles of how convergence of businesses can give you the competitive advantage in today's time. Create an innovative culture in your organization. Leverage your partner ecosystem. And finally, make technology an asset that is available across your industry. It is the use of the technology that will give you the competitive advantage and not the technology itself. Thank you for this opportunity, and I'm happy to take up any thoughts or questions that you may have.